On the next slides, you will find the worked out solutions and explanations for questions number 13 to 23. It's important for us to remember what slope-intercept form is. That is y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope and b is the y-intercept. When we need to go through, we need to find our b value, or our y-intercept. So we're going to plug in our x, which is -3, our y, which is 1, and our m, which is 2. To be able to solve for b. We solve for b and then use our slope and our y-intercept, our b value, to write our equation, which is y equals 2x plus 7. For number 14, we need to find a line that is perpendicular to y equals -3x plus 5. First off, it's important to remember that perpendicular slopes are negative reciprocals of each other. So if our original slope is -3/4, our perpendicular slope will be 4/3. So we're going to plug in 4/3 as our slope, which is our perpendicular slope, our x and y value, and solve for b. In this case, our b value is 0, our y-intercept is 0, so our equation is y equals 4/3 x. You could write plus 0 there, but just y equals 4/3 x is acceptable. For 15, we need to write the equation in point-slope formula. Point-slope formula is y minus y1 equals m, open parentheses, x minus x1. So what we need to do is find the slope between our two given points, and that slope formula is in the pink marker in the top right-hand corner. Remember, it's y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So we find the slope is 8/3 after we do our math. Be careful of your signs here. All right, and then we actually have two possible answers here, and they're both in the red boxes at the bottom. It can be y plus 3 equals 8/3, open parentheses, x plus 1, or y minus 5 equals 8/3, open parentheses, x minus 2, close parentheses. Both of these are acceptable because you can plug in either point once you find the slope using point-slope form. If you remember, parallel lines have the same slopes. So our line that's parallel to y equals -1/6x plus 2 through the point 4, 4 is still going to have -1/6 as our slope. Then all we have to do is plug in our x and y values. So we get y minus 4 equals -1/6, open parentheses, x minus 4, close parentheses, is our equation of the line parallel to the given line through the given point. For number 17, we need to find both of the x and y-intercepts and find the slope if it's linear. So to find the y-intercept, we set x equals 0 and solve for y. So we would end up getting y equals 2 where x is 0, so we graph the point 0, 2. That's the y-intercept. And to find the x-intercept, we do the opposite. We set y equals 0 and solve for x. We would get our x-intercept to be, or x to be 5, so our x-intercept is 5, 0. So we then plot that point. Then it also said to find the slope if it's linear, so we used our x-intercept and our y-intercept as our 2 points and used the slope formula to find the slope of the line is -2/5. There's three main ways to solve systems of linear equations. You can use substitution, elimination, or graphing. For number 18, I use elimination because both of our x's are 2, and if I multiply the second equation by -1, when I add the equations together, our x's will cancel out. I'll be left with 7y equals 21, so our y equals 3. Then I back substitute y equals 3 into either of the two original equations, I chose the second one, to get our x value, which is -2. A system of linear equation is going to be an ordered pair as a solution. So our solution is -2, 3. This could also be done using elimination or graphing if you so choose. Other systems of linear equations, in this case, I use substitution because I already saw that the x or y value, x in this case, is by itself. I multiplied the first equation by -1, so I didn't have to plug in a negative x. So then I took x equals 6y minus 19 and plugged it into the second equation, distributed the -4, combined my like terms, and ended up getting y equals 2. I then took the y equals 2 and back substituted it into either of the equations. I chose the top one and got x equals -7. So our solution is -7, 2. When we want to graph the system of linear inequalities, remember, every time we graph an inequality, we're going to have to shade. If it is greater than or equal to, it's a solid line. If it's less than or equal to, it's a dotted line. A solid line is going to include the points on that line. A dotted line will not. So in this case, you can see I graphed the top equation, y is greater than or equal to x plus 1 in the black pen and shaded with the yellow highlighter. I solve for y in the second equation and graph that one. Y is greater than or equal to -1/3 x minus 3 in the red line and shaded it with the blue highlighter, our solution here is any point that is in the what looks like green highlighted area where they both have in common, both the yellow and the blue highlighter. For the first equation, when we solve for y, we need to subtract the 4x and then divide by -1. Remember, anytime we multiply or divide by a negative, we need to flip the inequality. So it's going to go from less than or equal to greater than or equal to. So I graph 4x plus 1, y is greater than or equal to 4x plus 1. My y-intercept is 1, my slope is 4. I then shade above the line by picking a test point or knowing our tricks here. And that's going to be in the black pen and the yellow highlighter. And then our second equation, y is less than -3, is going to be a dotted horizontal line at -3, and we're going to shade below, and that's in the red pen and the blue highlighter. And once again, our solution set is going to be what looks like the green highlight area where they both share in common. Numbers 22 and 23, you're going to find the sum or difference and write the answers in standard form. I just like to use with the term CLT here, which is combined like terms. So we're going to add anything that has the same terms and same variable and exponent. So we get 7x squared minus 2x. This is in standard form because standard form starts with the highest exponent and decreases from left to right all the way to a constant. For number 23, when we subtract here, I like to multiply that negative out through and make it addition here. So when I do that, I would end up getting 3 plus 7x to the third plus 4x, all in parentheses, plus, and our second parentheses is going to be -8 plus x plus 4x to the fourth. That's what I get from distributing that negative sign. When we then combine like terms, I would get -5 plus 7x to the third plus 5x to the fourth plus x. But because the answer says it wants it in standard form, I need to rewrite it with the highest exponent on the left decreasing all the way to the right to get to our constant. So our answer is 5x to the fourth plus 7x to the third plus x minus 5.